Today on the Core of the Bible Daily Insight, we're looking at the topic of the kingdom and how we serve in a kingdom without icon. And this comes from actually two passages, one in Exodus 20 and also John chapter 4. So let's take a look at those passages. In Exodus 20 it says, "You shall not make for yourselves an idol, nor any image of anything that's in the heavens above, or that's in the earth beneath, or that's in the water under the earth. You shall not bow yourself down to them, nor serve them." And then Yeshua says in John chapter 4, he says, "But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth, for the Father seeks such to be his worshipers. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship in spirit and truth." So these two passages together could be summarized or paraphrased in this way: have nothing to do with tangible representations of any God, including the one true God. Worship the Father, Yahweh, alone, and in spirit and in truth only. Humans love icons. We seek to identify everything with a symbolic representation of some sort, whether it's a brand logo, an app, or a digital navigation menu. In honesty, I must admit there is a logic to this mode of communication because it acts as a type of shorthand for a larger idea or concept that can be communicated quickly and simply. And throughout history, civilizations have represented their concepts of their gods with a plethora of iconic representation, from statues to intricate carvings of various symbols to grandiose temples. And to this day, iconic representation can be found throughout the world, some even becoming popular tourist destinations due to their magnificence. However, God warns us that although this is typical and commonplace among all of these cultures, we are not to identify him in this sort of way. He's to be worshipped in spirit and truth only, not by some sort of symbolic representation. And the wisdom in this instruction is that he knows that the thing that is created to represent him can then replace him in the minds of his worshipers. Consider the golden calf incident. The Israelites created the golden calf as a representation of the gods who'd brought them out of Egypt in Exodus 32. And they bowed down to it, and then they danced around it. This shamed the magnificence of the one true God, and Moses rightly and immediately destroyed it. Or consider the bronze snake that Moses had made in obedience to Yahweh's command for the healing of the Israelites in the wilderness, and this is Numbers 21. When Hezekiah became king, he ended up having to destroy it because it had become an object of worship in and of itself in 2 Kings 18. Consider also the ephod that Gideon made to represent the victories of the Israelites over the Midianites in Judges 8. While his intent was to honor God with it, it ultimately became an object of worship itself, and it created corruption among the Israelites. And this is why idolatry is the most represented affront to God and his majesty throughout the entire Bible. Now, idols of other gods are an offense to him because there are no other gods that have created all things, and ascribing power to something other than him is an insult to his sovereignty over creation. In the same way, idols meant to represent him or aspects of his power are also offensive to him because no one thing can represent his majesty and glory in all of creation. Ultimately, as we've seen, he knows that the representative thing becomes the object of worship. Any created thing is not a thing to be worshipped, even if we believe it's representing the one true God. No one thing in all of creation can represent him and is therefore offensive to him. Here's an example. What if I was to create an icon of my wife, and in order to honor her, I burnt incense to that statue every day, or got down on my knees and professed my love for her to the image? I don't need an iconic representation of my wife to honor her. I just need to demonstrate my love to her every day in how I live my life by respecting her and caring for her. And in the same way, God doesn't want to be worshipped through some shallow representation of a portion of his being. He wants to be recognized for the beneficent creator that he is in all of his qualities and honored from the heart. God expects the same simplicity and sincerity that I would show my wife in my worship of him. God sets himself apart from all other gods by demanding we stop trying to represent him or his kingdom symbolically. It can't be done, and if it's attempted, whatever we make becomes an object of corruption. There are thousands of faith traditions in regard to the God of the Bible. Whatever your personal faith tradition, you must remove all idolatry, iconography, statues, and symbolic representation in your practice, because God hates all of it. He just desires our sincere honoring of Him every day by the outworking of our practical faith among the rest of His creation. And this is what living in and for His kingdom should be. Well, I hope today's insight was helpful for you. Please visit coreofthebible.org for many more resources. Thanks so much for listening today. Take care.